What are those?
I don't know. I thought they looked kind of dashing.
Look up from your telescope, take me on this journey home. I don't wanna...
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Half Soybean channel. My name is Sharon and today we are doing a very exciting video because we're moving a little bit away from clothes and doing our first shoe customization video. You guys would have seen these shoes from my Princess Polly video. I picked them up secondhand for only $30 and they were pretty much in new condition and they were super clean, but I decided to give them another wash anyway just for some peace of mind. So now they smell extra nice. I firstly unlaced the shoes and used this vanish spray thing and let it soak in and scrubbed away. My boyfriend has been really getting into this whole shoe customization world and he's bought the proper paints for it and everything, so I decided to borrow some and paint these shoes for my channel as well. The paints are by a brand named Angelus and apparently they're much easier to get in the US. The left is a leather deglazer and the right is a textile medium which you can use to mix in paints if you're painting on top of fabric. I didn't end up using this. Finally, you'll need a finisher. This one is high gloss, but you can also get matte finishes. My boyfriend is coaching me live from the side, so if I keep looking this way, that's why. The first thing you have to do apparently is to prepare the leather by wiping it down with some deglazer, or you can actually use regular nail polish remover, and I have both, so I'll try both of them, each one on each shoe, and let you know what works better. Pretty much when you wipe this down, apparently it like removes the factory finishing off the surface of the leather, which means once you paint it, that's gonna stick way better onto the surface.
좀 빡빡해. 너무 데미지가 잘.
뭐 색깔이 나와야 되는 거야? I want to transform my Nike Air Forces into sort of a 90s pastel vibes because that is the colorway that I've been really loving. So given that this is a painting video, I'm also going to be painting my face and talking a little bit about the history of the Air Force One shoe. So don't be alarmed by my face, I guess. So the inspiration behind what I want to do today is from the Nike Air Force One Shadow range. It is the pale ivory colorway, so it has a bit of lilac, mint, and also pale yellow, and I think those colors are really pretty. So let's get right into it. I am painting with a gel liner brush thingy that I don't use anymore, and I recommend using masking tape to shield the midsole if you can be bothered, and also do multiple thin coats. To speed up the process, I blow dried every layer of paint. So apparently the Air Force One was designed by a man named Bruce Kilgore, and he actually used to design household appliances and also cars, but he came over to Nike and he was tasked with creating the first basketball shoe with Nike Air technology. And before that, the Air technology was only used in their running shoes. So it was first released in 1982 and the ad for it had 6 of the NBA players. Just going in with some bronzer, I don't know. And these were known as the original 6. And with their ad, they were in like this, I don't know what it's called, like airplane grounds. I don't know what it's called. The Air Force name is actually taken from the plane that's used to carry the United States president around, which is called the Air Force, and that's where the name of the shoe comes from. So from what I'm aware, initially it was only released as a high top version, and then slowly as it gained more popularity they started bringing out more styles. I just feel like my boyfriend is going to be really proud of me for talking about basketball in this video because he is such a huge fan. So I've colored in this section and also this section here. I did about 4 layers to get it opaque, and now I think I'm going to color in this swoosh, a pale yellow. I don't know if this means anything to anyone, but I went with my boyfriend to see the game between the United States and Canada last year around like winter. It was like so hyped, right? Because they were saying like all the big players were gonna come, like Stephen Curry, LeBron James, and of course my boyfriend's favorite player on the Canadian team, Andrew Wiggins. They said all of these big shots were coming down to the land of Down Under. Of course, all of the bigger players didn't end up coming. I actually lost my smaller eyeshadow brush, so I'm using like this giant brush on my eyes. Pretty much I've just been using this one palette for like everything. My friend Claudia sent it to me on my birthday and it's just been my go-to palette ever since. I just love the colors on it. Kat Von D Fetish palette. Fetish blush and highlighter palette. And not long after we went to see the US-Canada game, we went to see the Sydney Kings and Illawarra Hawks play, I think. That probably doesn't mean anything to anyone, but I did see LaMelo Ball, and apparently he's quite famous in the basketball community because he has like 2 other brothers and they're like the Ball brothers or something. I don't know, I'm just like name dropping at this point. But I really do think it's quite interesting. Like there's just this whole intersection between fashion and sport, like especially basketball, I think. So doing the swoosh didn't take me as long. I think that's because the background was white and I only needed 2 layers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and mix some colors, maybe like the blue, green and white, to create the perfect mint shade. All the hype is really about like US and Canada. Not really sure, but I do see the little kids around in the shopping center and they're always wearing the LA Lakers. I always see number 23. Is that LeBron James? But I don't want to get too sidetracked about talking about basketball games that I've been to, which is like 2. So it came out in 1982 and by 1984 it was already discontinued, and apparently they tend to do that with shoes. 3 stores, I think, in Baltimore, they started petitioning to Nike that they wanted them to bring the Air Forces back because it was just like so popular in that area. So they brought back this thing called shoes color of the month or something, and they pretty much released like a different color of the Nike Air Force every month, which is pretty cool. And then other stores around the states started joining in on this, but those 3 stores are what really brought it back. And apparently there was like this crack epidemic in the East Coast, so the drug dealers were all like flexing their new flashy cars and obviously their new shoes, which some of them were the Air Force Ones, and it was making a big impression on the youth at the time, and everyone wanted a pair. And by the early 1990s, the Air Force One made its way into hip-hop culture as well, so it was no longer a basketball shoe at this point, and it was like more of a symbol of street clout. So of course, Nike being Nike, they started capitalizing on this and they started doing all these collabs with artists of the time, including Jay-Z. So this created a frenzy among the sneakerheads, and they were just like starting to become obsessed with customizing the Air Force One. That's because the Air Force One is such a blank canvas and you can do so much to personalize it to yourself. I painted the front. It actually doesn't look bad on camera now that I look at it, but I don't know, I think I'm gonna take off the light blue because I think it looks better without it. I don't know. 근데 카메라 앞에서는 예뻐.
그래?
파란색이.
눈으로 저게 예쁜.
실제로는 이게 예쁜데.
그러면 너가 좋아하는 걸로 해.
Okay, gotta deliberate off camera. Well, here's me excitedly telling the camera that I went with the blue after all, except I recorded it with the mic off. I remember when I was growing up as a teenager, some of the kids at my school had Air Forces. That's as far as my memory goes because I don't think I really paid attention to people's shoes as a child. Like, it was only in my teens where I started like really noticing brands and things. But you know, I think what really makes the Air Force One really incredible is that it has like transcended almost 40 years of shoe technology, and it just keeps coming back every year. It's just such a classic, you know? I don't think anybody actually wears them to play basketball anymore. At the time, the Air Force One was quite revolutionary, I hear. But obviously now there are just like so many different types of Air Forces, different textures, like different materials, textile materials used to make them. I personally feel happy that I was able to get my hands on a secondhand pair and give it some new life. Painting in some eyeliner wings. We have finished painting our shoes, and now what apparently I have to do is finish it off with this high gloss acrylic finish. I'm quickly going to show you guys how I do like my little braid hairstyle, because some people, not a lot of people, but some people were asking me how I do that. This is sort of like a weird video, like a mishmash of everything, because I do want to cut my hair short again, and once I do that I won't be able to do this hairstyle anymore. So I can't even braid my hair properly. Like, I'm pretty sure this is not how you do a proper braid, but I just like sort of mimic the idea of braiding. Standard French braid. I want to cut my hair short again because I feel like the short hair is more me. Like, I have been growing it out during quarantine and everything, but I think I do prefer having like short hair. Doing this video makes me want to do another shoe customization, so I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled for maybe another secondhand pair of Converse this time. Also, I will say though, the paints do dry a little bit darker. The Angelus paints, like the mint shade that I mixed originally, I thought that was pretty much spot on, but it's dried a little bit darker. Like, I don't mind though, it's like a really nice, like a turquoise now. But yep, so pretty much once you're at the braid stage, you just want to like tuck it in like this. Sort of like a little kid's hairstyle, but also I don't mind it. This is how it looks from the back. And yeah, I think it is time to get dressed. Here's my standard home attire with the Asian mum pants. Oh, what cute overalls. Where did I get them? Well, they're me made, and I also made a tutorial on it, so go check it out. What a summery little dress. Unfortunately, it is not the right season. Bit too cold. Ah yes, this is what I was looking for, but it is feeling a little bit chilly, so maybe I could use a jumper? Oh, there we go, perfect. What a nice corduroy puffer jacket. Even though I got ready, I actually had nowhere to go, but I just got a text message that I got a parcel. I think it's a fabric that I ordered a while ago, so I'm gonna go get that and take my new shoes out for a spin. Indeed, it has been the fabric that I have been waiting for. I'm so excited that it finally came. Can't wait to make a video from it. Then it got hot, so I didn't need the jacket anymore, but I'm going for a stroll. Just kidding, gotta come back for my camera. Here is a montage of shots of my new upcycled shoes. What do we think? Sure, there are pastel Air Force Ones out there, but are there any that look exactly like these? I honestly love them much more than the original Nike Air Force Shadow ones that I drew my inspiration from. Also, the reality of getting this shot was me laying on the floor like this with my legs up in the air. Just FYI.